obviously that falls on me. We didn't execute at a high enough level. I thought they prepared all week. I thought they did a lot of good things this week to prepare and put themselves in the right situation. We weren't able to go out there and execute. Obviously offense, the lack of run game continues to be a concern. And we turned the ball over again, and then the issues in the kicking game led to the decision at the end. We missed an extra point. May have not been in that situation, but that's where we're at, and we've got to find ways to improve. We've got to find ways to work. 2 regular season games left. Guys will have a lot of pride and will continue to believe and do it the right way, and that's what's important. But again, today was not good. It was not pretty in no way, shape, or form, and not where we need to be in all 3 phases.
Terry, and Coach, the lack of offense, was it because of execution, something they did, or you just didn't do the thing you wanted to do on that level?
Yeah, lack of execution 100% falls on. Credit to them; they're a good defense, but 100% on us as a staff and as an offensive unit. We just weren't able to execute the running game, wasn't able to get going. Lack of we had a couple explosives, just not be able to put together drives. They're 6th in the country on 3rd and 4th down defense, and they certainly showed that today. We just didn't do a good enough job. Lack of being able to handle it. It was a lackluster day by the offense altogether. And we can't just have to rely on one player to get us going. As you guys saw, Calvin Austin, I think he may have gotten 2 plays the entire first half. He wasn't able to practice all week. Calvin really hadn't been able to practice last few weeks. He's a tough sucker, and knew that he went in because he wanted to fight for his team, and that's the type of young man he is. But he's one of those guys that's just been able to get through it. But he cares and continues to work. But yeah, lack of execution 100% on ourselves. Nothing to do. Credit to them, but just not good enough on our end.
Were you going to kick it before timeout? Did you change your mind on that?
I was going to, and then I had flashbacks to the missed extra point. And I told my guys all along that we were going to be aggressive. And I think, that's where we're at right now this year with what we want to be. With a lack of a run game, I think you put yourself in opportune situations in overtime when you got 25-yard line in, and then it really condenses the passing game. And so that went through my thoughts. All those things did, Jeff, and I had a little bit more confidence where we need to be. I probably would have kicked. Our defense played a lot of snaps today. They're going to continue to feed Snead the ball. And then with our lack of execution on offense, other than the big play, I didn't want to risk that going out there.
And then the play itself, the call, what was the idea of that?
No, it's a 2-point play that we've had that's got multiple options for it. It's worked quite often. I believe firmly in the call. We just weren't able to execute it. They did a nice job defending it.
Ryan, even though Kent Pat kicked the field goal to send the game into OT, what just kind of, if there was trust in kicking the field goal, then what was the reason behind not getting the chance for the PAT?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the missed extra point earlier, and then, like I just mentioned, you go to double overtime, right? You're going to have to get 25-yard line, and with us not being able to run the football, it really condenses the field in the passing game. And so you start to sit there and say, okay, are we going to take the ball? We'd get the ball back on the 25 again and go down there and score and then give our best 2-point play, which we tried to do at the end of the first overtime. So when we got to that situation, I just felt our best situation to win this game right now was by doing that. I didn't think we were going to put ourselves in an advantageous point to do it, because if we didn't get anything, because we were going to be forced to throw. I mean, I think it was pretty obvious to everybody in there with the lack of run game. We were doing our only run game was with Seth bringing the ball down and running himself, which credit to him. And so all those things went into my mind. Our defense players were over there saying go, and the team, I've got their support, and they got my back on that call, but ultimately it didn't work out. And so that's what led us to that situation.
You mentioned the offense obviously not being able to execute. What do you think it was on your end? Was it not being able to run the ball? Was it not having Calvin out there? What made the lack of execution such a big issue today?
Yeah, I've got credit to East Carolina, but I've got no excuse other than it can't sit there and say because Calvin's not out there that's why we're in it. We'll go. We got plenty of playmakers that need to be able to do things and be able to step up. Like we've shown so often, this offense is capable of anything, but we're also capable of looking below par. And I think that, the reason for it, I'm going to, take a long, deep look at this film and see where it is. But, I do think when a team knows you're going to sit there and pass and you can't run the football, it doesn't help you much, right? This is a team that blitzed. And they still blitzed some this game, but, they were doing more dropping in coverage, rushing 4 or 3, and we weren't able to take advantage of that. And I think that in the run game, we should have been able to get some stuff going, and they had some timely deals. In the run game, it starts with everybody involved, right? From play calling with the scheme executed to the running backs to the offensive line to the tight ends to the receivers blocking, and it's not good enough.
Frank, how do you analyze the defense today? They couldn't stop ECU on third down, but yet they forced them to field goals. Only 23 points in regulation. What are some of the takeaways from the defensive performance?
Yeah, ultimately, right, you're pleased with the red zone execution, right? I think the defense, anytime you can hold an opponent to field goals, we do it. I was pleased with the 2 takeaways by Jacoby Francis. I thought he played an excellent game. But you're right, I think they targeted Snead 17 times, and he had 13 catches. I don't have the stat sheet on me. And then you're right, the third down, we've got to find a way to get off the field in third down. The quarterback hurt us with his legs in the first half, and then, as the game went on, we just had to find ways to get off. Look, the defense guys battled, and anytime you can hold an opponent like they did in the red zone, I was pleased with, obviously, the stats, aren't going to sit there and say that the defense completely pitched a shutout, but those guys out there and battled the offense just to do their job.
I know this may not be a one-answer-fits-all, but this is another close game that you guys were able to lose. How do you get this team over the hump to win some of these close games?
Yeah, exactly right. And I think, Frank, part of it, it comes down to execution because these guys believe. There's not a single doubter in our locker room, and so it's not like I go, and that's why you try to put your thumb on things all season, right? What is it? What do we got to do? What do I got to do better? What do I need to improve upon? And there's not a single person in the locker room blaming each other, they can blame me, but they're not blaming me. They're supportive. They care. Like I said, they work. They'll go back to work tomorrow because that's the type of young men they are. And so, what is it that's going to get us home? Simply just probably better execution all in all, and we all got to get a little bit better in everything we do. Now, look, Jacoby Francis went and had 2 interceptions, but he'll be the first to say, "Man, Coach, I know I can get better," and that's the type of young man we have, and it ultimately starts with me.
And I know, like with Calvin, with him, being out in the first half and get some in the second half. I guess what dictated whether or not he's going to be able to kind of play it all today?
100% up to him. He's got a significant injury, and a young man that we know that can't risk further injury, but he's battled his tail off. And like I said, he hadn't been able to really practice in a few weeks, and he's a tough guy. We got a lot of guys out there banged up that are fighting their tails off because they care about the other guys in the locker room. And we've both of our offensive tackles were barely able to practice this week, but they went out there and competed, and because they understand what's at risk and they want to finish this season, the regular season, the right way.
When you look at the kicking issues, is that, obviously an injury that compounded it, recruiting freshmen, what do you trace all this back?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen anything like it before where you're forced to make these decisions?
Jeff, I haven't. I really, I'm not going to sit there and blame one kid. I'm not. In recruiting, this was a recruiting COVID year, so most of our stuff was all off of film. And David Kemp was a fantastic high school kicker. That you watch his film, and people that had seen him live raved about how good he was. And I think he still has a bright future at the University of Memphis. He did get hurt before training camp. The last time he was back in game, he was completely healthy. And obviously had the missteps in Tulsa, which led us to, okay, hey, let's just trust Joe Doyle, who was brought here to punt. And Joe's done everything we've asked. It's And then the young man came today, and obviously the missed extra point. So it has led to some of the decisions we've made as a staff that I've made. I've never seen anything like it. I'm not going to be one of these guys that's going to say, oh, we're going to hold open kicking chouts. I've got faith in the guys. We just have to find ways to get it done. And I don't have a great answer for you, truly. I mean, I wish I could sit and say, hey, it's mechanics. It's maybe a mental. I don't know that. That's one thing that I've done a poor job in my career, being apt at reversing how I can get a kicker fixed. But it's troubling. It's frustrating. And ultimately it's on me, to find ways to be able to kick basic extra points, to be able to do those things. So these conversations don't have to occur.
Two more. Hey, Coach, I know it's a short week, and you play an opponent that really don't like Memphis. The last time you guys went down there, they spanked you. Y'all spanked them real bad. I know they're going to use that as motivation, and they're ranked. So how do you get your team to turn the page on this hard loss and get to a point? Because you don't need to come out to a slow start in the season.
Yeah. Here's the one thing I know about this group that I'm going to have the opportunity to be with tomorrow is just like the win versus Mississippi State, just like the loss versus UCF, just like the win last week versus SMU. They understand, okay, that's in the past. We're got to find ways to go out there and play a great opponent in Houston. We know they're ranked. I think our guys are excited about that. I have no doubt in my mind that group of young men that are going to get on a plane with me are going to be as dialed in, as focused as they've ever been, because that's what gives me hope and pride, and that's why I haven't come up here and said it's all lost. No, because I can look at Jacoby Francis in the eye and say, man, that dude's got my back, and he knows I got his back, and every single young man that's going to get on that plane Thursday night or Thursday afternoon is going to go out and battle their tails off for each other, for the university, for the name. I tell them that this before every game, go out there and play for the name on the front and the back of your jersey, and they'll do it, and they care. And so I have no doubt tomorrow they're going to learn from this film and say, okay, how do I get better? And like I said, ultimately it starts with me, Terry, and then they're going to say, okay, what do we need? What's the plan for Houston? Give us, and continue coaching me, coach, and show us. Let's keep working at this thing. And that's why I can at least sleep at night, because of the character of these young men.
Last one.
Ryan, you guys obviously now have 21 and 2 games to be bowl eligible. So at this point, I know Houston's on your mind, but just kind of how much more is that not going to be on? Maybe either adding pressure or something to think about, like, hey, this is one of our goals, and now we got to take care of business, otherwise it could possibly slip away these next few games.
Yeah, not once have I talked about bowl games to our guys. Not once have I talked about that. I simply talk about the next game being the most important. This was the most important game of my coaching career. This one was, and we didn't get it done. So we talk about, and just like we're not even going to talk about the bowl games, we're just going to talk about how do we go find a way to execute and beat Houston. And that's where our guys' focus has to be. Because if we sit there and say, well, if we win this one, that's great, but our guys have their own motivation to go out there and play as hard as they can and do things. And that's, without sounding corny or going back to what I was just saying, Terry, that's what is so great about these guys. They believe. They don't need a carrot over their head saying, hey, get to a bowl. They really don't. They're motivated. They want to work and try to find ways to improve. So we won't talk about a bowl game. We'll just talk about going out there and finding a way to beat a ranked Houston team. And our guys will be so darn excited. I'm sure a lot of these guys, knowing them, they go home tonight, they watch the film, put it to bed, and in the morning they'll say, all right, what can we do for Houston? And so, look, that ultimately is a goal for ours, but honestly, I've not talked to them one time about a bowl game.